We are at 81 days of semen retention now. And today I woke up late. I'm a little bit late to work right now, but I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Because what I realize is that I'm becoming something. And if I have to do something that is more important to the future version of myself right now in the moment, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm only late because I was busy working on shit. So then I slept later. I still only slept 4 hours or so, but so be it. I got up and I have all the energy in the world. Like, I'm fired up, I'm ready to go. Now I'm just gonna go expand all my energy on my 9 to 5 once again. But it's almost done. And I have enough, the job that I work at, I have enough time to where I can take a couple hours out of my day if I need to, like go home early or come in late. That's no problem. So my job's not in, any sort of jeopardy or anything. That's another thing too. Like, I know not to jump the gun too quick because I've done that so many times before when I thought, oh, the business is about to go good or this or that. And then you quit the job because you're all fired up, you're ready to go, but you don't even have enough like in savings to where you'll be all right to survive for at least like a year just working on the business. And you're not making much income from the business yet. So it's this stupid thing that I've always done to where I'll just kind of believe in myself, but do it in a stupid way. And then that would make me fearful in my situation where some people that works, it'll light that fire under their ass. But for me, it just instilled me with so much fear, especially in that state of mind that I was at back then. I was a different sort of person, somebody who gives up all the time. I'm not that anymore. But always jumping the gun on just leaving my 9 to 5 and then, kind of just hoping that the business would build that momentum within this time period. Maybe it had a little bit of momentum, but quitting the job is always what killed the momentum, because now I'm in a state of fear that, oh no, I don't have any more money coming in. And now I feel, worse. And that's not what you want to feel at all. And now I'm in a position where I could say, you know what, I'm done with this job, or I'm considering just taking a leave of absence for the next 3 months and then moving for a bit to just wholeheartedly work on my business, work on this, and fulfill all of this. But I just know not to jump the gun anymore. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with this time around. But regardless, I'm playing it smart this time. But I also know that, I could have just woke up and ran to work and, got there on time. I could have definitely done that. But my meals were more important. Making sure I was just ready for the day was more important. And then getting out this video was much, much more important than, making a couple extra bucks. Making an extra $50. Am I going to care about that extra $50 within a couple years' time? No. So why should I care now? You know what I mean? And that's not a reason to just be ignorant and say, oh, money doesn't matter right now, and just go completely broke and homeless, and now you're struggling financially. How are you supposed to work on your business if you're just struggling financially now? You know what I mean? You need to have some sort of momentum first and actual leverage first in order to pursue that and then grow that. Don't jump the gun. It's only going to delay the inevitable. It's only going to force you to maybe go back to a job and just waste your time. Because now you gotta grind that shit out for a little bit more and then go back to the business, and this is back and forth, back and forth. Or you could just stick to the job for a little bit longer right now. And then, when the momentum is really picked up and you're making more than your 9 to 5, then yeah, that's when you just go for it. That's when you actually take that risk. But before that point, you shouldn't take that risk. You also shouldn't be in this sort of state of fear to where, oh, if I take that risk, it's over if it doesn't work out. Like, no, if it doesn't work out, you go find another job and grind that out and then try to grow a business again. You just do the same thing over and over again until it works out. Realistically. But you don't want to, jump the gun this time, mess up the process this time. This should be, the last part of your process. Like, just be a little bit more patient. But regardless, you have to become. You have to become. Like, I have to still do the actions that would be required of me if I were that person that I'm thinking about in my mind 24/7. Lately at work, when I'm at work, I'm not there physically anymore. Mentally, all I'm thinking about is how can I get better, how can I progress, and how can I achieve this character? How can I, keep becoming this? And do everything in your power to become that character. You need to become something totally different. And it takes a lot of inner work. This is what I didn't understand years and years and years ago. I wanted $1 million. I wanted this, I wanted that. And just wanting obviously doesn't work. So then, I was trying to dive deeper into, how to actually get this thing moving, going on. And then I was trying different things. And then I saw millionaires were talking about, like, oh, you have to have your why. You have to have your why. So I was like, okay, say no more. My why is to, save my family. My why is to help my mom out or my girlfriend or whatever at that point in time. No, that is like a terrible way to look at it. You don't need that why. You don't need that whatever. You just need to become. All you have to do is become that person capable of making that money. That is it. That is the key right there. People try to, make the money before they try to develop the character who can make the money. You have to become the person who can make the money. And then the money will just naturally come because now you're the person who can make the money. So you should be doing everything in your power to become that person, not doing everything in your power to try and make money. Because also, even if you do end up, luckily enough, making that money, it will not last because you did not build the character who can stabilize that kind of income. You'll get a bunch of money and fucking blow it all because you don't know what you're doing. Whereas if you build the character in the first place, then you won't have that problem. You need to do the inner work. That is the extremely hard part. You have to, get real uncomfortable. At a certain point, you're going to have to leave the 9 to 5, But if you have to grind that out first and make sure you have enough in the savings and all this stuff, so then you're good to go, then yeah, do that first. That's sometimes a very necessary step in the process. Like, it doesn't take that long to make, $50K and really save that up. That could take 2 years of your time. And in retrospect, that sounds like a long time, but it's not. When that time is going to pass regardless. So if you take 2 years to stack up 50K, and then now you could just go out, go live somewhere relatively cheap. Maybe find an apartment for like 1,000, 1,500 a month, maybe a little bit of money for food, utilities, whatever. Maybe you spend like 2,200 a month. You can at least survive for about a year. And then within that year, you give it your all to build that business. But while you were working that 9 to 5, you should have been building as well. So then, once you get out of that and you've been building for 2 years, you should have some sort of momentum. And once you have that momentum, and now you don't have the time restraint of putting your focus and your energy and just, everything into your 9 to 5, and now you can put it all into the business. And as long as you just do that, now the result is, almost completely bulletproof. Now you can actually grow your business. Now, I feel like that's a really good formula that, people just don't consider, because a lot of people, like at a certain age, you have to be willing to grind out that 9 to 5 in order to get to that step ahead. Because if you're not able to get a business up and running without the finances already on the side, you need some sort of financial, just something. And if you don't come from money, you're going to need to grind out a 9 to 5. Like, the earlier you do it, the better. But if you're like anywhere in your mid-20s, you definitely have to grind out the 9 to 5. If you have to put in the 70 hours of work every single week, if you have to have 2 jobs in order to get ahead, you have to just look at it as a tool. Don't use that money spending it on stupid shit. Even if you're making a good amount of money, stack it up. Because the sooner and quicker that you do that, the sooner and quicker you can fully just concentrate all of your energy on the business. But you can also build the business while you work the 9 to 5. Because once you get to the point where the business starts to grow and you start making money from it, now you're going to have to put in a lot of work still in order to maintain this business. So if you didn't have that grit from the start, that grind from the start to just get things done, even when you don't want to, and learn how to ignore your emotions, learn how to not care about whatever is going on around you, and just fully lock into what you have to lock into, at that point, then you're truly unstoppable. If you were able to just grind out a 9 to 5 for years and years, take a bunch of bullshit, and then you get and at the same time, you're learning how to manage your time so that you fucking can work on the business as well, while working the 70 hours a week, while, going to the gym, training, while doing all the inner work. Then once you get to the point where you can quit the 9 to 5 and not put those 60 hours in, you become unstoppable. And I haven't seen it yet, but like, I see it in my mind, and my mind is the only thing that's actually real in this world, my consciousness. So I know what I'm talking about. You'll see it coming to fruition from me. All right? I've been grinding out a 9 to 5, just saving up. And now I'm pretty much ready at that point to strike. I'm not scrambling for money. I don't even care about money anymore. Honestly, once you make it past like 100K, you don't care about money anymore as well. That's another thing, but that's a topic for a whole nother day. But you just have to truly be dedicated to actually putting the work in, and things will work out. If you put in the work, things will work. It's a very simple equation. It just takes time and patience and doing the, boring things over and over and over and over again over a long period of time. There's no real method to doing this quick. You don't want it quick, because the quicker it comes, the quicker it goes. With anything, a lot of people will look at my physique, especially at work. A lot of guys will ask me, how do I get like that? Because I'm pretty, very hard to tell from these angles. I'll show you guys, pictures one day, whatever. But I have a pretty good fucking physique. But I've been putting the time in for 10 years consistently, no matter how I felt the past 10 years. Whether I wanted to go or not, I did the work. And that's all it was. The work and enjoying the process. Those two things, and you become unstoppable. But then they'll ask, and then I'll fucking tell them what it takes. I'll tell them, hey, you gotta start going at least 5 days a week, and you gotta go to a gym. Oh no, I don't really want to go to a gym. I want to do, just calisthenics, and I probably work out like 3 days a week because this job is pretty tough. Like, motherfucker, you see me here. You see me grinding this fucking job. You don't think I grind this job and train? Like, what are you talking about? 4 days a week, 3 days a week. Like, I'm telling you what to do, and before you're even thinking of doing it, you're making these excuses. Like, how ignorant can you be? That's why you don't have it. Because you immediately just make the excuses as to why you can't. You can do anything. If you believe that, you're meant to have that thing. Otherwise, you will never have it. You can want millions of dollars. You can want a dream physique forever. You can keep wanting and wanting and wanting and never get there. Because if you actually wanted it, you would put in the work, time, and effort. You would hyper-focus on, okay, no, I am that person. I am that person that has that physique. And before you even get it, you have the mentality that, you already have it. Before I got, I'm really, satisfied with my physique right now. I really am. I'm going to get a little bit more shredded than this, and then I'll really, really be satisfied once I unveil everything. But I'm really satisfied with my physique right now. And from the start, I was delusional in thinking that I could, and everyone would make fun of me for going to the gym so much. Everyone would make fun of me for, trying to diet and this and that. But now, 10 years later, those same fucking people ask me how, or ask me to help them. Are we so fucking for real? So the very same thing will happen with this. Once I start making a bunch of money, they'll chalk it up to luck. They'll wonder how, they'll ask me how, and they'll ask me to help them out with it. But I already know deep in my heart they are not capable because they don't believe in themselves. If they did, they would learn how to just do it on their fucking own. Especially if you're much, much older than me. Asking me how, wondering how. When you've seen me grind everything out, and you've seen where I've been, mentally, physically, financially. I've been in, the worst shape of my life, financially, just in absolute ruins, just tens and tens of thousands of dollars of debt. I've been mentally just almost insane, like not in a good way. And I came back from it all because I told myself, it's not who I, this is not who I am. And when I was talking to myself back then, I realized this now. I was talking to me. I was talking to the me right now, the me that's actually accountable for all of his actions. That's who I was talking to. And I didn't really fully comprehend it at the time, but I was becoming this character. And now this character is about to evolve into the next. Like, you should always be trying to just get better and better and better. Like, I am becoming right now. Like, I'm doing everything that, the future Batman version of myself would be doing. And I'm thinking about it nonstop. When I go to sleep, before I go to sleep, in the morning. I don't do the things that don't serve me anymore. I don't use social media. I eat, pretty damn clean now. Still a little bit tough with work. But the 9 to 5, I'm soon going to, abandon that whole thing. Really get my business growing and just work on my business. I'm still working on my business as if I'm already at that position. So it's only a matter of time until my reality, my material reality, actually correlates to the reality that I actually perceive in my mind. They have to catch up to each other. They have to. As long as you actually are turning into that person, they fucking have to. But another important part is going to be my environment. Like, once I get out of this job, once I get out of my hometown, then, it's just up from there. Because then I could fully transform into the character. The full final transformation will just be there. There's going to be nobody who, remembers me from my past. Besides my family and all that, but if I'm not around them all the time, they're not reminding me of that, then I truly actually have a chance to evolve, And I've been, crashing out a little bit more on people at work. I'm trying to be to myself, and people try to talk to me and try to treat me like my old self because that's all they know. That's all they perceive me as. And I don't have it sometimes. Like, my managers, I told off the other day because he was trying to enforce this new rule or something. And I just told him, no. Like, what do you stand for? Like, that rule makes no sense, so why are you telling me this? I'm a hard worker. I put my all into this, as I put my all into everything. So just let me fucking work and, get on going. And, he was hesitant, but I saw the respect, deep in his eyes. And ever since that conversation, just respect. Sometimes you have to be like that with people. This guy that, is kind of odd at work, and I always kind of have like a little bit of issues with, because he's just, he's kind of a jerk off. He just, one day, I lashed out on him because I was defending somebody else, and he didn't like that. Nobody probably does that to him, so when I did that to him, he completely stopped talking to me. I mean, this guy was super friendly with me, but now he just doesn't talk to me at all. Like, he'll just put his head down when he's around me, like a good little boy. I demand respect, They either love or hate me. There's no in between. Well, I'm very fine with that. I'm very comfortable with that. As long as they try to, be on the good side, they have nothing to worry about. But that's everything. I gotta get to my damn 9 to 5 and get that going. So I love you guys. As always, peace out.